All right, next item is the item that we added, which is Immigration Heritage Month. And Kelly, who's got the lead on that? I guess Keith? Well, we have several people that have indicated they wanted to speak, so. Okay, so I have 4 people that have indicated they wanted to speak. Nancy Huffman? Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Redmond City Council, for the work that you do. We've lived in Redmond and served in this community for almost 20 years, and we love it here, and we know that we all do. We value diversity, and we value human rights. We support the proclamation to make June Immigrant Heritage Month, and we really want to see Redmond become a welcoming city. Redmond is the hub, and we're hoping that it can be the hub of love and welcoming people of all different nationalities and diversities. So I have these cards, and I was hoping that I could just pass them out to you.
Okay, thanks. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, next we have, is it Jessica Rowan?
Oh, my handwriting's so bad, Jordan, sorry.
That's fine. Two Jessicas, how about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of us in this world. Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone, and hello, City Council. And I am thrilled. This is my first City Council meeting in this new chamber, which was my old elementary school. So I think it's just wonderful what you guys have done here. Very inspiring to see this building repurposed in the way that it has been, and it's just gorgeous. So thank you guys so much for that. So I've got some notes here, but I apologize for being a tad bit awkward and nervous. So he said, hello, friends and neighbors, and I recognize a lot of you from working through different projects with the city and from just being a Redmond resident forever. My name is Jessica Rowan Salim, and Redmond is my hometown. I have the great privilege of claiming Redmond as my hometown, not because I have any more right to it than anyone else who's come here later on. In fact, Nabil, anybody? Sorry about my son. In fact, it's a
little musical accompaniment
musical
there.
accompaniment. In fact, it's an accident of birth and many, many, many eons, really, of immigration that have given me the blessing of having been born here. When I look around this room, I see actually the faces of immigration. And half of my family are here from an immigration wave of nearly a century ago. They can be traced to Ireland, like many Americans. And the other half of my family came from halfway around the world in a little impoverished country called Yemen that hosted me for several years as their guest, where I met my husband, where he gave up everything that he had ever known to follow love halfway across the world and join me here in my hometown. We joke that he was the ultimate souvenir. And I want to share with you a little bit about my husband, who often isn't able to attend these things because he works very hard. He has a college degree in accounting and was in Yemen the equivalent of what we have here as a CPA. As an immigrant, he is now working for UPS, and he gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning every morning to go load trucks, and it's a very strenuous job. He has never complained. He says, this is good work. This is honest work. And like so many immigrants to this country, feels very privileged to have that opportunity. We've been married for 10 years, and I have seen him cry 3 times. Once when he had to say goodbye to his mother before coming to the States, once when my son was born and we heard his first cries, and once when he took the oath of citizenship to the United States. There's never been a more proud American or anyone who's had more faith in this place. And I can say, honestly, from our experience, and I think many people in the room, that it's been a rough couple of years. here in America. And it's been a time where there's been so much seeming division, people not being able to see eye to eye. And for me, it's been heartbreaking. And there's been a lot of moments where I felt like I was losing hope. Particularly, I broke down about a half a year ago just in tears, and my husband asked me what was wrong, and I said that I didn't know what was becoming of my country. And he looked at me and he said something that I'll never forget and something that props me up to this day. He said, "No matter what happens, tomorrow we wake up in America." And for me, that moment made me realize this person who's given up everything to be here, everything that he's ever known, who has so much faith in this place and what we can be, has not lost hope. Then what right do I have to do so? And so, even though it seems like this is a moment where we can't come together, I feel it's just the opposite. I think this is the moment where we can and should, to honor who we are as a people, to come together and to honor what we are, which is a nation of seekers, a nation of hope, and a nation of immigrants. And so to see things like honoring immigration as a community and designating a month to do so gives me hope and inspires me and makes me think that my little boy, who's now crawling around on the floor, will in future be able to be proud of all aspects of his Americanness and all parts of his family and feel honored in this community. So I thank you guys so much for doing this and for giving me the opportunity to talk.
Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Next we have Jessica.
George? I'm sorry. May I?
No, it's just public comment time, yeah. Next we have Jessica Pickens. We'll do it when we're done.
Good evening.
Hi, Jessica.
This is my first time, so
Okay,
I'm just
good.
so glad to be here. And like Jessica Rowan, it's really exciting. I went to school here, so I'm really excited to be in this building again. Thank you for giving me
Sure.
this opportunity. Okay, so I jotted down everything I wanted to say because there was a lot, but I just needed to organize my thoughts. So my name is Jessica Pickens. I am a lifelong resident of Redmond and the daughter of a Mexican immigrant who has also been a Redmond resident for over 30 years. I am here tonight in support of the proposed proclamation to designate Redmond as a welcoming city to immigrants. Growing up in Redmond in the early 1990s, I remember only a handful of students in my school like me who came from diverse cultural backgrounds. But now I am delighted to see that our city is growing, is a growing community of people from all different walks of life and cultural identity. Through my work here in Redmond, I have met many families and worked with children who have immigrated from Mexico, Central America, China, Vietnam, Turkey, and Afghanistan, and that's just to name a few. I think one of the most significant aspects of our community is our dedication to creating a safe and welcoming place to raise a family and to pursue new opportunity. Because of this, Redmond deserves to be included in an opportunity to embrace diversity and honor immigrants. I firmly believe that immigrants strengthen this community. I also believe that if we take this step to designate our city as a welcoming city, it will be a tremendous force of positivity for all of our residents. By taking this chance, we will send a strong message that we are inclusive and all are welcome here. So let's look out for each other and honor our most vulnerable immigrant families by doing this. Any opportunity to display kindness to outsiders is a tremendous opportunity for Redmond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. All right, next, we have Katie Lewis. Please, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of making Redmond a welcoming city, even more welcoming than it already is, and to declare June Immigrant Heritage Month. I've had the incredible honor of living in this community for over a decade. I know not as long as many other people here, but in my role as a community member, I've also served as a healthcare provider serving the Tri-County region to deliver much-needed early intervention care for all of our young people that suffer from significant mental health challenges. So I've had the incredible privilege of meeting people, the diverse numbers and kinds of people that live in the Tri-County region and in Deschutes County. That being said, I'm also aware of some concerns that I have if people that are vulnerable and need healthcare services feel afraid, because if they feel unwelcome, they are actually much less likely to go seek the health care that they need. This is of actually particular interest to me. I'm also happen to be a researcher in the field and consult with communities in the frontier regions of our state. And while we can profess welcoming attitudes and behave in a welcoming way, the more overt and clear that we can send a resounding message that everyone is welcome in this community, there's actually a correlation between the increased likelihood that people that are most vulnerable, which includes people that fear discrimination, even if it's unwarranted or there hasn't been an incident, just because it's out there or because they're aware that they have a difference that's maybe being argued about or disagreed upon right now, the likelihood that they'll delay seeking immediate health care needs, mental health and physical health care needs, goes up significantly. The problem with that, although it tears on my heartstring because I'm a healthcare provider, so I have an emotional investment in this, there's also a significant fiscal cost. When people wait for any reason to seek healthcare needs or emergency services, the likelihood that we enter into more crises and more need and dependence on very expensive, complex healthcare needs increases. And so we must do whatever we can to lift barriers that would send messages to all of our immigrants and people that appear different from me or perhaps some of you in the room or perhaps similar to you. We need to let them know that we want them here so that, in fact, they will access services and keep our costs low and keep our emergency systems free to do what they're supposed to do and not respond to unnecessary crises and cost us a tremendous amount in the long run. There's extensive research behind this. That's one of the reasons I feel very passionate about becoming a welcoming city and including ourselves resoundingly for the social benefits, but also there are very real fiscal benefits to doing so in the long run, and for the generation of immigrants that are coming up now in our community that are our future. Thank you very much for considering including this in your statement to the rest of the community.
Okay, thanks, Katie.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I had for people that had signed up. Is there anyone else that wished to address on this issue? Yes, ma'am. Please give your card to our staff over here, and please give us your name and address when you start. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. And thanks to those of you who spoke so compassionately and articulately. I'm speaking for Tanya Beard and her husband Ryan, who couldn't be here tonight.
Okay.
My name's Leanne Latteral, and I live at 235 Southwest 8th Street here in Redmond and have for 33 years. So I'm pleased that this is being considered by our city. So Ryan, who is a teacher at Redmond High, and Tanya, who's a nurse practitioner, and their 2 children, have lived in Redmond for 6 years. They would like to affirm all the family and community-oriented things Redmond has done, which has really enriched their families' lives while living here. As a family, they would also like to encourage and support Redmond affirming June as Immigrant Month and to grow our community's racial and ethnic and cultural diversities and to embrace the gifts that people from different countries and lifestyles bring to us. So they also are very hopeful that Redmond will become a welcoming community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wish to speak before we have a motion? Okay, I see none. Do I have a motion? Yeah, please, Jenny.
I move to approve the proclamation designating June I'm sorry, 2017 as Immigrant Heritage Month.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there, Ann, you had a comment? I'm sorry to cut you off earlier.
That's no problem, but she left the room, so it's
Oh.
not relevant.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Jay. Your mic.
Thank you, Dan. I would have liked to have, this is an important proclamation to me, more so than some others that we pass. I would have liked to have seen this a little bit in advance so I could read through it, because I don't really know what it's saying. And to hear it and make a positive affirmation of it without looking at really what it's saying. And looking at not only what it's saying, but what I imagine this proclamation is saying throughout the country. I don't know who's bringing it forward. I don't know that.
You want me to read it first before we vote?
Well, yeah, you're going to, and that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I'm a little bit gun shy of the proclamation just because of and I know the speakers tried not to indicate, but the political ramifications of this and what brought it forward, I don't understand. My mom was an immigrant from Canada, and she became an American citizen, and she also cried on that day. So I remember remember that day real well, and I appreciate our country. I appreciate Redmond, and I know we do the thing in the park that brings citizenship, to many people who seek it, and that's a great thing. I just don't want to get in a political back and forth.
Well, and this really isn't political, but, so let me go ahead and read it with your indulgence. All right? Okay. So the proclamation states, whereas generations of immigrants from every corner of the globe have built our country's economy and created the unique character of our nation, and whereas immigrants continue to grow businesses, innovate, strengthen our economy, and create jobs in Redmond, and whereas immigrants have provided the United States with unique social and cultural influence, fundamentally enriching the extraordinary character of our nation, and whereas immigrants have been tireless leaders not only in securing their own rights and access to equal opportunity, but have also campaigned to create a fair and more just society for all Americans, and whereas despite these countless contributions, the role of immigrants in building and enrich our nations from time to time been overlooked and undervalued throughout our history. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Redmond hereby proclaims June 2017 as Immigration Heritage Month. Sorry about that.
It sounds very...
Yeah, it's uplifting, yeah. So you feel better now? I mean, all right, okay.
With my comments.
Okay, all right. Okay, anyone else? Ann?
Yes. In no way to suggest a change to the motion, but I heard several people interpret that we might be doing something called welcoming city. And I don't know enough about that. I know it's not, I know it's a different thing.
Yeah, it's not part of this.
I said it's no party to this, I understand.
Right.
But maybe we should get a little information, maybe from staff at a later meeting, about what would be involved in being a welcoming city. And I honestly know nothing about it, except I've seen it, that a few cities are doing it, and I don't know if it's different than this or not.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Okay, and I want to reference what Jay had talked about. There is a multicultural festival that we hold every September here in Redmond. It's right over here in the park, and representatives from many, many countries are there. It's a great event. If you get the opportunity to attend it, I go every year and find it to be just a marvelous opportunity to see different cultures and people that actually live in our community. And finally, Jay referenced it, but specifically, we are the only place outside of Portland where they actually swear in new naturalized citizens. And if you've never seen one of those ceremonies, I'm telling you, It is a moving experience. And what Jay was just referencing, and we heard the lady reference crying, it happens. People are so proud. And like I said, I've witnessed it now and for several years and find it just a marvelous experience. So I encourage everyone to attend when that comes up in September. Okay, so having said that, any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you all for coming and speaking, and yeah.